Defence Minister David Johnston says our military campaign in Iraq continues to degrade and disrupt Islamic State. Australia's Air Task Group has flown more than 140 missions since September. Those missions are to provide air support to Iraqi security forces on the ground and to target Islamic State infrastructure, including command centres, weaponry and vehicles from above. And former Chief of Army, Professor Peter Leahy, joins us now. Peter, good morning to you. Thank you for your time. Now,
good morning, Sam.
This air task group we have in Iraq has been bombing Islamic State targets over the past couple of weeks. How much of an impact is it actually having?
Well, they're having an impact to achieve the mission that they've been set, which, as the Minister has described, is to degrade and disrupt. And that's an important thing, because what needs to happen is that we need the Iraqi ground forces to get to a state, and we need the Iraqi government to get to a state where they can launch some ground assaults against ISIS, to stop ISIS moving forward in the areas that they are, but most importantly, to make sure that they can evict them from some of these large towns that they already own. We know that they own Mosul. We know that they're very strong over in Fallujah and in other areas of the country. So this is just part of a larger campaign, and our Air Force is playing an important role.
Okay. All right. So first comes the airstrikes, then comes the ground attack, I guess. There are 200 Special Forces troops set to arrive in Baghdad within the next week. Can you tell us what their role on the ground will be?
Well, it's looking though they're going to go in, and this really has taken quite a while to eventuate. We've seen the Iraqis rather slow to make the agreements. First they were on holiday, now they seem to be putting into place their government, which is a good thing because the new government is a sectarian government. It's one that's going to rule for as many people as we can see in Iraq. So they need to pull together, and our forces will be supporting, they'll be assisting. We've been told very clearly that they'll be training and mentoring the Iraqi forces. In the first instance, it looks as though it's going to be the Iraqi Special Forces, but perhaps later on we'll see some of our conventional forces engaged supporting the Iraqi conventional forces. Yeah. We've also been told fairly clearly that they're not going to go all the way forward and get engaged in ground combat operations. But there will be some issues to just how close they get. It's certainly going to be dangerous, but our guys are well trained, they've got the right equipment, and there is a real mission to be done.
Yeah, absolutely, and we are very proud of our guys who will be going in there. Now, Prince Charles has called for religious leaders to condemn the extremist attacks in the region overnight. Most recently, over 300 people were killed in the western Anbar province in Iraq. We're seeing ISIS propaganda videos coming out all the time. Can we say the coalition is winning the fight against Islamic State at the moment, given that these attacks are still happening almost daily?
It's really hard to know what the shape of victory is here, Sam. I think we're looking at tactical part of the battle at the moment, and Prince Charles is right, and he's right to condemn everybody who's involved in these terrible actions that are going on over there. But we need to consider what is the shape of victory. So degrading, disrupting are important things to do, but Iraq in many ways is just a tactical part of the battle as well, because we know there's a big fight going on up in Syria, there's problems along the Turkish border, and if you look more broadly in the Arab world, you look at Libya, you look at problems in Yemen. So we need to think that we're part of a much larger campaign. We're taking those first tactical actions to make sure that they don't succeed in the mission that they've given themselves to establish a caliphate. But then we need to think about how do we support other countries in the region, and not just Australia. This is going to be a global mission, but most importantly we need to see regional countries get involved in what is essentially a regional problem. So victory is still a long way off.
This is a very long-term situation, isn't it? Professor Peter Leahy, we have to leave it there, but we really appreciate your insight. It's fascinating. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Sam.
Koshi.